Once upon a time, there was a great monk who was on his deathbed, said to his successor, a young monk, "Remember one thing, never allow a cat in your life." Then he died. A big crowd had gathered to listen the last statement of this great monk. Everyone was surprised to listen his last word. The successor was also very surprised and kept thinking, "Why should I avoid allowing a cat in my life?" After they cremated their master with all the rituals, the successor monk was still pondering the last statement of his master. In the monastery, there was an old monk who had been with the master for so many years and had closely observed his life. However, he could not be chosen as the successor because he was very old and was expected to die soon. Seeing the young monk lost in thought, the old monk approached him and asked the reason of his concern. The young monk explained the last statement of their master. The old monk said, "My dear friend, you don't know the long story behind it." Then he narrated the entire story to the young monk. The story began when their master renounced his wife, children, and home, and went to the jungle to live near a small village. He used to go to the village to beg for food, and the villagers were happy to have a monk among them. They made a small bamboo cottage for him. The monk had only 2 clothes to wear, but the trouble arose when rats came into the house and started chewing his clothes. He was in great difficulty because he had only 2 clothes, which would soon be torn to pieces. So he asked to the villager what to do. The villager suggested he keep a cat to keep the rats away. It was a perfect solution. So the monk agreed, and the villager gave him a cat. The cat kept the rats away from his cottage. However, the problem was that he had to feed the cat, which meant going to the village several times to beg for milk. Again, he asked to the villager for a solution. The villager said, "This is a small village. The best thing to do is keep a cow. We can give you a good cow, and in that way, you will become very independent. You will have enough milk for yourself and for your cat." It seemed like a good idea, so a beautiful cow was brought in. Now, the problem was that the cow needed grass and someone to look after it. Every day, the monk had to go to the village to beg for grass. People said it didn't look right for a great monk to be asking for grass. The monk replied, "But what to do? How can I feed my cow and my cat?" The villager suggested a simple solution. One woman in the village had become a widow. Her husband had died, and she had nobody. If they persuaded her, she would be happy to serve a monk like him. She could also grow grass and crops near his hut, and take care of him in sickness and health. The idea seemed right to the monk. The villager persuaded the woman, who was alone, and the monk was young, so she immediately agreed. She started taking care of the monk's cottage, cow, and cat, and began growing crops nearby. Working tirelessly for him, the monk also started helping her. They grew crops together, and slowly they fell in love. The woman was beautiful, the monk was young, and they were living together in one cottage. Eventually, the women got pregnant and they had a child. One day, the monk thought, "I had renounced my family and the world, but now I am back in the same situation." It all began with the cat, and now he had a family again. The old monk concluded, "That is why the master told you to remember not to keep a cat in your life." Here, cat symbolized not to give your mind too much leverage, allowing it to dominate you without your awareness. If we reflect on our lives, we find that we often allow our minds to do something we know isn't good, thinking we will do it only once. But once we give a little leverage to our minds, it starts taking more, and we become addicted to bad habits. Like the monk who renounced the world but kept a cat to save his clothes from rats, then kept a cow to feed the cat, and eventually kept a woman to look after the cow, leading him back to the household life. Similarly, some people try drugs for intoxication, knowing it's bad but wanting to feel its effect just once. Eventually, they do it again and again, becoming addicted, or knowing that eating junk food is unhealthy. We try it once and slowly it becomes a regular habit. Therefore, never keep a cat by giving leverage to your mind. Once you do it, it will take your life toward destruction without you even realizing it.